Never.
Hello and welcome to Realistic Renovations and Refinishing. Today we are basically going to finish the cabinets we just installed in the last two videos. So as in what we're refinishing or what we're finishing up is all the trim work. So basically the baseboard on the bottom of these two, I got to build one here. That one came off, but I'm just going to cut a piece of wood that covers the whole thing. The bottom part of the upper cabinets, which you can see right there, I have one already done, and the side of the cabinet here. Also, the very top, there's a gap at the very top. We're gonna fill that in with the same molding we're gonna put around the top of the walls to cover all the, basically the edges and stuff. So I just cut this board. Now granted it is sitting the wrong way, but I'm showing you a quick method of how I do this. So you do have a lip right here. What I'm doing is it fits nicely. So it's not being held up by anything other than pressure itself, friction, stuff like that. So what we're gonna do to make it simple is, since I have to cut a little section out of each piece to go past this lip, all I got to do is do this. So once I cut this piece out and this piece out, for the thickness of what this is here, it'll fit right in there, and I can fit it flat up underneath to cover up basically the underside of the cabinet. So I got these are 3/4 of an inch out. Now granted, this is actually sticking a little bit further, but there's a gap right there. So it actually lines up perfectly. We don't want to push it all the way up because this is a very tight fit. If we get it up there, we might have a hard time getting it out. So it does fit. See, like this side right here, pretty much right at the edge. Again, there's a little gap because of the tape. That's no big deal. When we get this up there, it'll line up perfectly with the front of this. And all we got to do is do some kind of edge with a router, and it will hide all the screws and everything like that in here. And actually this will paint white to match the basically the cabinets. So now we have a edge, basically a nice routed edge. Last step, well, second to the last step is painting it. Yay, more painting. So to give you an idea what we did, we put it up here and then we kind of slid it up this way. We didn't want to, we knew it was gonna be a tight fit, so we didn't want to have this get all scratched. So I put tape up here to kind of keep it from getting messed up, so we didn't have to fix this. It'll mess up the tape instead. So before I did anything, I actually put a strip, let me angle is right. I put a strip across the back of this of extra wood because, as you can tell, the end of the cabinet is right there. So I actually gave it a little bit more thickness to be able to put these nails in the very back. Now, those nails won't be seen. We will put a little bit of wood filler in there and paint them over once we do the piece that's under here. Since we'll have the paint out, and we'll have to do the same thing for underneath. So that's what it's going to look like. Nice finish. On the edges, we'll put silicone, white silicone. When we get that done, we'll show you just a quick trick on how to make it look professional. A couple tricks I learned basically on YouTube, and we'll share them with you guys. Anyways, till next, we do have the kick plate to put in. We'll do that probably sometime today or tomorrow. So see you then. First of all, sorry about the wind. So what we did is we anchored another board on here. So there's only an inch difference between this end and the other end. So as you can see, it gets smaller as it goes down. So when this is actually an even board all the way across, when I cut it, I'll use this as basically the guide for the edge. Then the blade will cut 1 inch or ½ inch off of this side, which on the other end is basically the end of the board. This one, it starts an inch up. So okay, let's see how this works. Power button. Take 2. Five and a half, 4.5. That's what you cut off. So Jill will use this to spear me tonight or something when I sleep.
Oh, whatever.
We'll see.
I've
been nice to her all week, so.
I'll use it for something.
And this board right here is done, and we'll be installing that underneath. So underneath this, since this is not a base cabinet, it doesn't have anything to anchor to. So basically we put these strips up here, nail them up. That way when we put this underneath, we can nail straight into those and it won't go anywhere. It'll give it some kind of strength. It's not gonna fall over. It's not gonna, I actually have something solid to nail it to. So I have one on every side. The last one, I have this board right here, which I have to cut the size, and then we'll put it on the end and we'll be pretty much done with that whole bottom piece. Okay, I did do an end cap right there. This was wide open before, so I made a little cap, made a brace in there. Please excuse the 8 million nails. I was just bored and figured what the hell. So there is a piece of 2x6 that's back here. That's basically straight, nailed in there for a little bit of reinforcement. It's also nailed in on this side. All these holes are filled. I'll fill these all up and you'll never even notice they're there. And then I think that completes it. be 1x12s, they're only 11.5 inches. This is a 12-inch deep cabinet, so this last portion I won't have anything to nail on. So on the last one, what I did is I just took little strips of wood, nailed it to the back of this. That will give me enough thickness to nail the 1x12 up on this thing. So there will be a gap in the back, and what that gap is going to be filled by is the tile that we put up there. It'll actually fill the gap that's back here. So So we have these two panels up. So sit down a little bit. We got these two panels up. There's a 6-foot panel there and then a 9-foot panel there. So what you saw me do before is I routed a hole, or routed a groove through here, and that's for the LED light strip that's going to go across the entire thing. Now, if you saw in one of my pictures, or one of the pictures, I drilled a hole all the way up through here. So what that's going to do is allow me to drop the light through here, so all the electrical is up here, and we will run it through the wall down to the bottom of this plug right here. On this, you'll see I have a gap on this side and I have a gap on that side, and it's tight right here. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to mark it so I can basically cut out of there and make sure that we can go flush with this and still have a gap, basically the same gap we have on that side. So I'll kind of show you what I did. I'll do it off camera, but I'll show you exactly what I did. So basically what we do is we just hold a pin up to the ceiling like this, and we just draw out basically just like this. So this will give us a gap that we need to cut. We basically need to cut this portion out. It's hard to do this. It's hard to do this holding this and a camera and everything. So there you go. I'll take this out, sand it down with a belt sander. Get this little piece right here. So there you go. So as you can see, the little pin line, the mark on here, I'll take this out with a belt sander and I'll sand all this off. That way when I push this all the way up, it'll have the same gap. I can nail it in and then see how it fits. And then again, we're gonna pull all these pieces off and paint them on the ground and put them back up. That way we don't have to worry about getting it on the ceiling or getting on the cabinets, anything like that. We don't have to worry about touching it up. All we'll have to worry about is touching up the little nail holes we do. So there you go. Currently we're doing the cabinet trim. So I have this tacked up right now. This piece right here, I had to trim the top of it. So I'll show you when I get it up there. Now the end, so what we're looking at right here is the fact that it actually goes in. So or it sticks out. So if I go like this, you see a gap right there. So what I have to do is I have to trim this little piece off. That way, when it does fit in there, it fits like this right here. So that one's kind of a rough one. I'll end up doing something a little bit better with this one, but I do want to make sure that it's notched and actually works out very well. We're gonna fill all that in with silicone. That way you don't have to worry about it. You won't see it. Again, this board right here, let me see which side. This side right here, I actually had to trim out. So when it sits up on there, it was a gap on this side, a gap on that side, and it was flush right here. So I had to sand down the center, kind of like a little divot right here. And that way it'll sit flat. So I'll show you how to cut this piece right here. I'll show you what I did to cut the other one. I'll make this one a little bit better. And we'll go from there. Excuse the mess. So first of all, I have to make a line across this, and also I don't want to cut beyond this part, the edge. So it's not as good, it's not as perfect, but again, all I'm worried about is the bottom. The top will be covered. So it's a nice little, you know, mark. We'll see how it fits. Oh, Jesus Christ. Close the thing down. So, if you can see it, it's actually pretty nice. It's actually a good cut. So actually pretty good. Now when we get the other piece up here, it'll be perfect, set up nicely. So there you go. Nice little groove in it. Don't need a table saw. You can use your other saw. Just be very careful with your fingers in the way, because while you move it, your fingers do move with the piece of wood. So again, hopefully you guys can do that. You don't have to have a nice expensive table saw. So, or for something this simple, you don't want to have to break a big old table saw out. Okay, there you go. All this is done. Not too bad. Help from Jill, off and on, when she can, when I needed her. It's not too bad. So again, we'll pull all this down. You'll see the next caption. We have it all laid out, painting it white and everything like that. So I do have, let me see. I do have this in there too. This is basically the baseboard. We will end up painting all this white, and we'll go from there. So, okay, there you go. This is all done. Basically did the side. I have to cover all the little holes and everything like that. I think I ran out of nails right there, and yeah, so that's why there's 8 million nails in there. All the way around the side, I'll fill in the gaps with some caulking, and you won't even be able to tell. Yeah, well, pretty good. Okay, what we're doing right now is filling in all these gaps right here, because as you can see, you see this dark line, basically this shadow of the gap between this and the wall now, or this in the ceiling and this in the wall. You can see it right there too. There's a way you can get rid of it to make it look nice, professional, and we'll go through the steps to showing you that. Okay, first step is to basically tape up each side. So you want to get as close as possible. That way you don't have a nice big caulking line right here or on top. So I got as close as possible to fill in the gap. I use frog tape. Let's see where it's at. Right there, frog tape. Not sponsored by them. I've always used this. Sometimes it peels the paint off depending on how it is on the wall. If there's some spots that are easily peelable, it comes off. Don't use masking tape or anything like that for obvious reasons. It's gonna really rip up your wall. This is kind of a low tack tape. So, okay, on to the next step. Show you the next step. Next step is basically the caulking. So I have white, it's a white gloss caulking. Just because this is like a semi-gloss, it won't really make a difference. If you do like a satin, they do have a satin one. I have that as well for different areas in the house I've used. If it's colored, basically what you're gonna have to do is, or if you have different color other than white, what you're gonna have to do is put the paintable caulking in. This is silicone, put latex caulking in and then paint over it and then basically peel the tape off. So we'll go ahead and go to the next step. I'll show you. So the next step basically is just simple, apply the caulking as the instructions say. I smoothed it over with my finger. Now they have like caulking tools where you can round out the edges and stuff like that. But basically, get a cheap rubber glove, go like this across it. It'll actually smooth it out. Go like this back. There you go. Also, keep a rag of some sort. Cheap rags, or if you don't like your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or wife, just use their good shirts. Don't tell her I said that. And then peel the tape off. I will not peel the tape off on video. It's kind of a pain in the ass doing it with one hand, so I will peel the tape off and I'll show you the outcome of what we did. Okay. And there you go. So I did the very top right here and I did underneath. So you don't see the gap like that. You can see where it starts and where it stops. Same with right here, you can see where it kind of disappears. All it is caulking, a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. It makes your trim basically look like more, well, at least a little more professional. If you do mess it up a little bit, you can just take the color paint you have for the wall or the ceiling and just cut it in. It will fill in, or the caulking does fill in all the holes, all the gaps and stuff, as you can tell. And basically when we get the rest of the trim done, it'll look nice and professional. Kind of like that right there, all along the top. So, okay, hope you like it. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like this stuff. We'll be doing more stuff to the house, furniture wise, stuff like that. So basically everything to do with the house. We do have another channel, which actually this is what we're building this garage for, is to basically work on cars, work on Susan, the rat rod as you've seen with different videos. And we'll see you then. Thank you. Have a nice day.